What's up? It's your girl Queen Boss Lady, and I'm back with something totally different today. This message is for a specific person, and I know who this specific message is for. I only know his first name, but you know who I am, and the person that I'm speaking of, his name is Mr. Bobby, and he was best friends with my dad. And I've been picking him up lately in my spirit, and he just brought something to my attention again, right? So I'm gonna tell the story about Mr. Bobby and how I met him. And then we're gonna do a spiritual read with him. I do feel him in the energy. It's very heavy. He did come to me last night. And he just said not to be sad. And he said that I had gotten so big because I knew this man as a child. And he said, your daddy is hell, boy. But don't be sad. I met Mr. Bobby through my supposed-to-be father. And Mr. Bobby would always come with my dad whenever my dad would come and lay up with my mama. Mr. Bobby would come, which I couldn't understand at the time, but this is what was revealed to me last night. I couldn't understand, and you know, y'all listening to this, y'all know if it makes sense to y'all or not. Who takes another grown man with them to their baby mama house when they know they're gonna be in the room with their baby mama for about an hour, maybe two, doing what they do, and you okay with having a grown man out here with your small children? And what was revealed to me in that sector was they was testing Mr. Bobby to see if he was initiation worthy, right? So as my dad is and my mom is in the room, you know what, doing you know what, you know, Mr. Bobby would be in the living room with us, and we would just be around his feet. He would be telling us stories, and it was just so fun. It was like an adventure. And one day just so happened, surprisingly, before my supposed to be mom and dad went in the room, we was just all outside, and the kids was just playing on the side of the house. And then we was close enough to hear the conversation, basically. And Mr. Bobby picked up on something. He said, you know what, Mr. Joe, I noticed that you don't never hug your daughter. You don't never hug your daughter. You don't never tell your daughter you love her. You got a beautiful daughter, man. She's so beautiful and special, and you know. And my dad was like, you're right. You're right. I don't know how to love no girl. I don't know how to love no girl child. And Mr. Bobby was like, it's easy. All you got to do is hug her, tell her you love her, show her you love, show her you care. That's all you got to do. You got a beautiful daughter. And he was like, hug your daddy. He called me over there, and he's like, hug your daddy neck, baby. You ain't never hugged your daddy before. And I was like, no, sir. And he was like, and you ain't never hugged your daughter before? And he was like, no, man. And he was like, man, baby, hug your daddy neck. And he was like, Joe, man, hug your daughter. You got a good daughter. She's so special, right? So the next time Mr. Joe came to see Miss Jeanette, right? Because that's what I need to start calling these people. You know how you ask somebody, hey, what's today? And they be like, it's Monday. That's how he did me. I heard Mr. Joe truck pull up and I got excited. I ran to the window. I looked out the window, but I only heard like the door, one car door slam. And normally 2 doors slam because Mr. Bobby be with him. So I was like, when Mr. Joe walked in the house, I was like, I was like, hey, Mr. Joe, but I called him Dad. I was like, hey, Dad, where Mr. Bobby at? Oh, he died. And kept walking in the room. He said it just like that. As if I was asking him, hey, what's today? Oh, it's Tuesday. And you know how you just keep on. That's exactly what he said about this man. This man that he called his friend, y'all. This message is for Mr. Bobby's family. My daddy did something to Mr. Bobby. I feel like he unalived this man through spell work because he did not accept the initiation. He was supposed to be out there touching us in inappropriate ways and challenging us, and he wasn't out there doing that. He was out there showing us love. He was out there showing us compassion. He was out there, you know how you had them old grandpas and, the kids just sit. We don't have that no more. But the kids just used to sit around their feet and they used to tell them stories about, this and that. Maybe a scary story, maybe a funny story. It doesn't matter. But all the kids is like, ooh, wow, ah. Like, that's how it was. But since this man wasn't out there abusing me and my siblings, he didn't make the cut. And then he had the nerve. This is how Mr. Joe is. If you got the nerve to confront him about his fucking wrongdoing and what he's doing wrong, you catch him doing wrong, baby. Not only that, Mr. Bobby revealed to me that he was taken out because he wouldn't come up against me. He was taken out because he stood up for me. Y'all, this energy is so heavy, but Mr. Bobby, you are welcome here. You are welcome here. I'm not going to take this one, but Mr. Bobby, what do you want to say to me through these cards, Mr. Bobby? You can speak to me now. Your energy. I just said your energy is welcome here. And look at this card. Working with dark energies. Didn't I tell you? Nothing like the last. Didn't I tell you this man, Mr. Joe, went and did some root work on Mr. Bobby so he could have a... He didn't even tell me how I heard freak accident. I did hear freak accident. Mr. Bobby, if your family is watching this, email me. Write in the comment section how he passed. I'm hearing... Felt like you wasn't good enough for them. And didn't I say he didn't make the cut? My daddy like, oh, you ain't good enough to hang with me no more. You ain't good enough to be around me no more. You gonna take up for her? You gonna tell me in front of her how to love her? Because I ain't loving her. I don't got no love for her. You gonna call me out? You gonna make me feel small? It's a reason why I ain't trying to have no attachments to this child. Is Mr. Joe's energy right now? Well, in this situation, in that situation. They were assigned to you in reverse. See? He tried to assign Mr. Bobby to me. Cause come on now. When your baby daddy, when your child father come visit you and y'all got arrangements, y'all got a still sexual relationship with, do he bring his best friend with him every time he come? Come on now, that don't look right. He could have did something with this insurance money. Cause see what he's doing is, this is what he's doing, okay? I'm hearing double policies. So even if Mr. Bobby family had a policy on him, they can still cash that out. And then my dad also, Mr. Joe, this is not my dad. Mr. Joe also has someone that does insurance fraud. So he gets paid for everybody. Legend in the making. Legend in the making, Mr. Bobby. Say you know it. He said you know it and you need to show it. Y'all, Mr. Bobby was my best friend as a child. I had no friends as a child. They took everything away from me. Everything. I wasn't allowed to have no pets. Thank you for being in the room with me, Mr. Bobby. Thank you for coming, Mr. Bobby. Mr. Bobby, it's okay for you to speak to me and tell me what happened to you. Look. Put something in his drink. And that's another thing. Mr. Bobby used to always have his beer. Mr. Bobby used to come with a 12-pack. A 12-pack of Natural Lights. And he used to drink his beer. And as he used to drink, you know how people be like when you get drunk, you know, that's when the real you show up. The more he drunk, the more he turned into an angel, y'all. He never disrespected us. This is 99% true. I just asked him to speak to me through these cards about what happened to him. Look, the good time that they wanted him to show me and my brother, he wasn't doing it. It was a setup. You don't bring no grown man with you to your baby mama house and then leave no grown man in the living room with your little girl and your little boy. Every time. He did this about 4 times in total, but you know, every time, you know, it was about 4 times in total. And then Jeanette would have these, you know, I call them like little splat get-togethers, because, you know, Mr. Joe would come and then it'd be Mr. Bobby, and then, you know, another one of her friends might pull up, and then so it'll be like a whole bunch of witches and fucking warlocks, basically. You know, about 4 adults. So Mr. Bobby My daddy got something. Mr. Joe got somebody. Mr. Bobby say, expose the truth, baby. Expose the truth. You did something to this man. You put something in his drink and he had a freak accident. You did this. You'll never find another friend like Mr. Bobby. Because I haven't met one after him that don't suffer with freaking perversion. Mr. Bobby said, I got the whole world in my hands. And it will be justice in the land. And I mean that. He got somebody that does insurance fraud for him. Mr. Bobby, speak to me through the cards. You can speak to me, Mr. Bobby. He got somebody. Growl like dogs. You know how dogs growl at you because they want to bite you so bad? That's how Mr. Joe was looking at this man. Look, Mr. Bobby say you a prayer warrior. Mr. Bobby say you are a prayer warrior. Devils are always going to connect you to other devils. Skip town. In reverse. They can't go nowhere. I just get this feeling that, I don't know, Mr. Bobby got this feeling that, look, he was gonna like cut my dad off. He started feeling, yeah, he was gonna cut my dad off. He started feeling some weird energy from my dad. And it's like he wasn't gonna, yeah, God is able in reverse. He found out my dad didn't believe in God. He found out, like, depression. That my dad is, because Mr. Bobby say it's okay. It's okay to call him your dad. You know, that's all you ever know him as, you know. Mr. Bobby said, I see he wasn't even worried about me. It was always about another woman. I mean, the way he wiped his nose, good news, with Mr. Bobby, when Mr. Bobby wouldn't do this to us, because he was not no shallow man. He was not proud. He was not proud of how Mr. Joe was handling his children. Excuse me, that's confirmation. Because Mr. Joe is not going to be that. You get what I'm saying? If this man come with you every time to see your kids and you in the room doing a damn huckabuck, and then you come out, you don't even acknowledge your children, and you just leave. And you do this every time. And see, Mr. Bobby was an earth angel. Once he picked that up, he like, hold up, wait a minute now. We done came here about 3 or 4 times. Yeah, look. Think outside of the box. That's why Mr. Bobby was like, hold up now. I done been here quite enough times, and I see you don't even acknowledge your child. He said, I haven't seen you one time. Confirmation. I just got a text on my phone. I haven't seen you not one time hug your children or even acknowledge them. He said, no, with his beer in his hand. Like the more he drunk, and I've never seen it before, he just became more just laid back, beautiful, beautiful energy. He said, hold up now. I done been here enough times. I never even seen you hug your daughter. I never even seen you acknowledge your daughter. Mr. Bobby said, you done outsmarted him. Yep. Ain't no blessings coming to Mr. Joe. All things are working together for my good. He said, I've never seen you since I've been coming. Even hug your daughter. Even acknowledge your daughter. Wait, I can't get the word out. This did this to him. It lit a flame to his ass. I remember Mr. Joe's face and everything. I remember how he played it off and everything. He was just acting like, yeah, you right. You know, and that did feel good hugging my daughter, but in his head, he was like, bitch, I'm going to fuck you up. I'm going to get you. How dare you? That is not the plan. We are not supposed to be telling her she's a special child. We is not supposed to be loving on her. I brung you so that you could do this to her. Be inappropriate with her. And once he found out, your family hates you. I bet they do. Look, they despise you. I bet they do, but they're not buying no more time when it comes to killing people that love me and turning people against me that love me. For the love of money, people will steal from their mothers. For the love of money, people will rob their own brothers. For the love of money, people can't even walk the streets for that mean green. I just got chills all over my body. He's heavy in my energy. And let me see if something comes out of here. Police. Because I'm being honest about this crazy person. And this crazy person is not an honest person. I'm talking about, okay, Mr. Bobby is taking me back to how he said it. You know how you ask a person, hey, what's the day of the week? And they like, oh, it's September the 8th. Look, he wanted to gaslight me. He ain't gossiping about this. He kept this. And that's another thing, okay? That's why we have gossip in reverse. And last night, I was like, my Miss Jeanette knew, like, how much I love Mr. Bobby, how much, you know. So why didn't she tell me? Why didn't she tell me, you know, oh, y'all, Mr. Bobby, that be coming over here all the time, he passed away. Do you know my other dark ass witch and warlock siblings, right? These witches and these warlocks, they train them up as children. I need y'all to know that. Oh yeah, they train these children up in the way that they want them to go. Yes, they do. And they practice their magic and their spells on the chosen one in the family. I was the only one. Excuse me. This is sick. This is sick what just was brought to my memory, but thank you, Mr. Bobby. And y'all excuse me for that. That just made me cough up mucus like from nowhere. So maybe he could have got a cough or started coughing or choking on whatever they put in his drink. But I was the only child that asked, hey, where Mr. Bobby? Oh, he dead. Oh, he died. That's what he said. Oh, he died. No, this is how I know y'all did something to that man. And we never, my Miss Johnson, Miss Jeanette, Mr. Joe, and my other family members never spoke of Mr. Bobby again. I was the only one, sat, mourned. I had to go for a walk and cry because they don't have no fucking emotions. They don't have no emotions. They don't have no feeling. They don't have no remorse for human life. I could not believe how Miss Johnson didn't even say, y'all, that is messed up what happened to Mr. Bobby, and he'll be missed, and you know, nothing was said. It's like it never happened, like we never knew him. And I wish I got a picture of me and Mr. Bobby. He did come to my birthday. I got a picture with Mr. Bobby. And I was hugging him around the neck like this, like he was my dad. Nobody never spoke of him again, but I'm speaking of him today. You thought you just gonna bury the people that love me? And I wasn't gonna find out? Yeah, I still got a like goofy heart too, cause it's heavy. But you know how you gonna bury my mama and not tell me? That Tyler Perry movie. She living her best life being a fucking drug addict. You gonna bury my mama and not tell me? Ooh, that energy right there reminds me of my sister. Don't give no fucks about nobody. It's just all a show. Who can show off the most, and who can get the most sympathy, and who can get the most attention. My mother never brung him up again. We didn't even have a candlelight for him. Y'all, I'm gonna just cook, a meal, and we just gonna celebrate Mr. Bobby life on our own. He was a good friend of mine. He was a good friend of Mr. Joe. They never. My sister was around Mr. Bobby just as well as I. She never uttered his name. They all did what Miss Johnson instructed them to do. Miss Johnson wasn't showing any remorse for Mr. Bobby. She acted like it didn't exist. And her minions did too. They was trained so well. My mother, Miss Johnson, did not even have to tell her children. She was telling them, Because now that I have unlocked my gifts and God has allowed my gifts to be unlocked, she was telling them telepathically. Yeah, she was. Mr. Bobby, you are loved, you are respected, and this truth has now hit the light. This darkness is now in the light. And this is for you, Mr. Bobby, and your family. He said, you better not apologize to me for what them monsters did. You better not ever take credit. You better not ever pick up they slack. You are missed, Mr. Bobby. You are loved, Mr. Bobby. You are respected. And this message is for you and your family. I pray that it brings some type of peace, some type of understanding. And the more he reveals, the more I'll say, the more I'll speak. But just let me know, I'm okay with being wrong. I'm okay with being wrong. I just heard colon cancer. Okay? He had colon cancer. If he had colon cancer, Mr. Joe still did this to give it to him. I'm gonna drop the mic right here.